care about the game. The stuff I'm saying is from a place of love. I just want the game to prosper, be as great as it could be, and can be and will be, I believe. First thing, let's discuss it. As soon as you pick the game up, right? First thing I complimented was the footwork and the foot planning. But once you start playing the game, you quickly realize you can only dash or lunge in 4 directions. Of course, there's nothing wrong with that. 4 directions sounds great. But the issue with that is you cannot cut diagonal angles like that, because a lot of times boxers are cutting angles front right, front left, back right, back left. I mean, the angles can be kind of endless on what you can do, especially when you want to throw pivots and shifts and all that kind of stuff in it too. So I think one thing, there has to be a diagonal ability, or rather add 4 more directions to those dashes and lunges you already can do, so you can get those diagonal angles in there. That's crucial.
At that back foot, instead of going straight back, it's going to go a little bit to the back right. So let's work that here. Boom.
One thing I'll say, this is not really a good or bad. I think it's like a neutral thing, because it's some context on it. The button punching compared to the stick punching is not as good. Button punching is not as intuitive and it's not as reactive to stick punching. I have no problem with that, because I think they said the game was built for sticks. But the only thing with that is this: when I'm button punching, if you double tap the button, the punches don't come out real quick. You can't do a double jab, boom boom. You can't double tap that. But if you tap, pause, tap again, you have to really have a lot more timing using buttons, which I got used to, and I thought was pretty cool. You know, seeing when your punches are coming out, you can time them up differently. It was kind of cool, you know. It's kind of like real boxing. You gotta tap, tap. But I did notice, even with that, sometimes it wasn't as responsive as using the sticks. I like using my straights, jabs, and the hooks with the buttons. I throw my uppercuts with the sticks. So I want that to be a little more balanced. Stamina was an issue during the beta. I'm not gonna say it was a big issue, but consistently I was getting to 600 punches a fight. Now that could be because I love throwing jabs. Jabs are low energy punches. They don't take up too much stamina. I wasn't throwing a lot of power jabs either. The issue is the average boxing output per round is 65 punches. So if that average holds, right, 65 punches per round, in a 12 round fight, we're supposed to be a little bit under 800 or right around 800 punches. I was easily getting to 600 punches in an 8 round fight. If you do the math on that, for a 12 round fight, that's easily over 800, close to 9, maybe even higher. Stamina was tuned though during the beta, and once the tuning took place, you couldn't throw as many punches, I tell you that. So I think that was a great change, right? Especially for the heavyweights. My only problem is, once the stamina was tuned, you got tired real fast. But it also made you pick your shots more. But my question is, was the stamina going down so much and that was all I had for the fight? Or was that legit my stamina through 8 rounds? So if the fight went for 4 more, I would just be dead. Or does the stamina adjust according to the fight length? Punch cancellation was very janky. It looked very robotic and it was not smooth. Trying to cancel a punch to throw it like a feint or something like that, nobody is about to be fooled by that. Nobody is gonna think you're trying to throw something and then you just stop it and cancel it. It was very robotic, very non-feinty. I really do hope they can maybe find a way to get better feints in the game. Maybe make them smoother. Maybe stop the animation later in the animation point. Because after you got to a point, like if you didn't slam on it immediately to cancel, it wasn't a cancel. The whole punch animation was going through. Cancellations, feints, that has to be improved. Because I would love the feints, and I understand where it can improve at. I will say this though, uppercut punch cancellations were actually really good. Those are smooth as hell. Those looked realistic. But the jabs and the hooks, they didn't look that good. I mentioned earlier about the weave. The weave in this game was really unusable. The weaving was very stiff. It was very limited. You didn't have a lot of range on the weave, right? Which of course, cool. I have, you know, you can't make it all fake and fight nighty. I get that, right? But I found myself never using the weave. Why? Well, because in real life, people are mostly doing those stepping weaves where they're going in a U shape and moving with it. It's not just a stationary weave they're always doing. Most of the time when people are stationary, they're slipping. The slips were actually really good to use in the game. In my opinion, instead of putting slipping on the L3 or clicking in the left stick and moving it, you should really combine and put slips on the left trigger and the flicks. If you put slips on left trigger and flicking the stick, it's a lot more usable because that's really the main defensive mechanism people would use, in my opinion. I use slips way more than the weave. It'll be easier to access, and I think it would actually free up the controller some. You can still have the controllable weave, but when you press left trigger and you flick it, let those be slips. I think that'd be much better on the control scheme as a whole, help people have better defensive mechanisms. And while we're on the topic of slipping, we definitely need to be able to slip like I spoke about the 4 directions. As far as lunging and doing dashes, we need to be able to slip in more than 4 directions, because most slips are not full out left right slips where your whole body is either in frame 3 on the right or frame 3 on the left. What I mean by frames is, right, when you do your slip, you might get your head off center line. Frame 2, see another punch coming, you get lower, right? Frame 3. That's a little boxing term, right?
We're in frame 1, frame 2, frame 3, frame 2, frame 3, frame 1, frame 2, frame 3.
Well, in the beta, the slips were literally frame 3, real low, frame 3, real low, back, and you're dipping low. It wasn't any subtle We definitely need that. We definitely need those diagonal ones, because those are the main slips, the subtle slips. Because with these slips, you're able to punch off of them. The slips when you're getting real low, typically you're doing that. You may slip a jab, and then that cross coming, so you don't get hit with it, you'll get even lower.
So I'm gonna throw a jab, he's gonna go to frame 2, okay? And then as I throw the right hand, he's gonna go to frame 3, okay? Same thing on this side, okay? If I throw the jab, he's gonna go to frame 2. If I throw the right hand, he's gonna go to frame 3.
So we definitely need to get diagonal slips, and then have the ability to make the slip go lower if need be. I personally would like that on the left trigger. I think it'd be a little more effective. And then maybe from there we can control the weave, you know. So let's get a moving weave, right? And let's just put it the U shape. Make the U shape with your left stick. If you want to go right, make it go right. If you want to go left, make it go left. That's what we need.
Jab, cross. Crossing the line is dangerous. So all he has to do is roll under and he gets the 3. Now he's in 3 on this side. Okay? Let's go over that one more time. Frame 1, frame 2. He wants to get the 3. All he has to do is go under. And now he's in frame 3. Same thing on this side, right? So if he flips the jab, the right hand, if he wants to get the frame 3 on the other side, all he has to do is roll under. He gets under the hook, he's in position to counter.
As fans of boxing, we know angles win fights. In Undisputed, of course you can create angles. You create some great angles, right? But like I said earlier, we're only limited to the 4 directions currently. Prayerfully, they give us those diagonal angles so we can have 8, right? To cut off angles. That'll be great. But in addition, we need the ability to pivot, right? Pivots will create even more angles and make the game even funner and more realistic. Click in the L3 or left stick, and just how we were doing flips before, instead of that L3 flick being a slip, let that be a pivot. Because with pivots, you plant a foot and you push off that foot. So since left stick is already our movement stick, that's how we move, why not push that in and then flick it? So it's like we're pushing in and pushing off like a pivot. To me, that'll be perfect. L3 can be our pivots. Along with our movements, we can move around. We do our dash, we can do our lunges. We want to hit somebody on a better angle. We push in, we pivot how we want to pivot, and we have an even better angle. That would take the game from like I said, 8. Now we're getting at 9 and 10. If we get these pivots in, diagonal dashes and lunges. Hey, in some of the pivots, maybe we can just make them shifts. If you pivot a certain way, you can't necessarily pivot, you can shift that way. These are the kind of things that make the game just flawless. But it's possible to do. If a person throws a jab, what many people do, they slip the jab, right? They slip the jab, boom. Sometimes they can take a step, they can stay in place. If you see it coming, you can step. But then what happens? You step and you throw your own right. Currently right now, you can't do that. Every punch you throw, your head is on the center line. Boom, boom. In this game, if we had the ability to throw punches while getting our head off center line, that would be game changing. Imagine being able to throw a jab or a straight and you time your opponent perfect so you can slip on the outside of their punch and get your punch in. We see that happen all the time. So I think this can be accomplished if we go ahead, map it to LB, and we double tap the jab or straight button. And I say double tap just so it's some timing to it, so it's not just easy to get. You have to really time this up. We need the ability to be able to get out without our chin up. We need to be able to get out ducking. How come I can't move backwards and diagonal with my head off at an angle?
Go. There we are. Now I'm gonna go a little bit harder. Go. Very nice. Go. This back angle going this way. Sort of like a James Toney kind of style. So it's a dip and a little bit of a pivot going to the back left. I would say this is gonna work more for safety than counterpunching.
Just how we said with our slips, we have to get right there. Well, you can step with that. You can step like that. You can step like that. To get out, you can step like that. Diagonal. Go out the other way. You can step out at that angle. But with your head off the center line the entire time. This could be accomplished by simply putting LB and making LB the modifier for getting your head off the center line. Since LB is already the body modifier, why not make it the ducking or off center line modifier also? Kind of like a double whammy, right? We press LB and we flick the left stick. As we already have our normal lunges on our normal dashes and things like that, we press LB and we do the flicks. Then we're exiting and getting out with our head at a certain angle. So we're even safer. This is high level stuff. I know Coach's Corner gonna be cheating if we put all these mechanics in there, but hey, I'd rather be up in there and I'm getting my butt whooped and it's realistic than to not have it in there and the game be limited. Another great defensive mechanism people use all the time in boxing is what? Parrying. I know parrying is scary. From our history with UFC. UFC 2, it was a parry fest. I know. But guess what? If you do parries correctly, they can be a viable defensive option. Make parries extremely timely based, make the window very small, and parries can be in the game. Don't limit your game because of past games. Make your game as realistic as possible. Make your mechanics as realistic as possible. And you ain't gotta worry about people cheesing and spamming parries. Parrying is a defensive mechanism to begin with, right? Right trigger is block. To parry, let's make it where you press right trigger and you have to double tap the corresponding button of the punch coming at you. So this isn't just some reactionary thing. You have to actually get your opponent's timing. You have to know what they're about to throw, and you got to put the input in. That removes all parry spam right there. Because if your opponent is smart and they're throwing up their combinations that keep you on your toes, you're not gonna be able to really guess unless you really know them. Unless you really have taken multiple rounds to get their rhythm. You know how Lomachenko do? Collecting data. You gotta collect data before you can try to parry something. And once you get it down, then you can attempt to parry. But guess what? If you fail, you get punished for it. You get caught with a bad shot. That's how you do parries correctly. Don't limit the game because of the past. Put it in the game. Make people learn it. Make it skill based so we can all enjoy it. The last defensive mechanism that we are unable to do currently in Undisputed is catch, i.e. shoulder rolls, catching punches, catching them on the gloves. Right now, to even catch something, we have to do the 6-axis blocking, where we're blocking and you have to do like that. That's not necessarily a catch. The most popular catch is probably the most famous is the shoulder roll, right? You see it coming, boom, and you can fire back. We need a dedicated catch button in this game. In my opinion, just like I spoke about with parries, right trigger is already blocking. To catch, right trigger plus a L3 flick, you're already blocking. You then could catch, really shoulder roll, and that would make catching even more skill based. So you're not just catching it all. You're gonna catch it when you need to catch it. You're gonna miss some and you're gonna pay for it. It's risk reward. If you do a perfectly timed catch, you can fire back with a great punch. If not, you're gonna pay for it. Now, of course, right, catching depends on the stance you're in, right? If you got the cross guard, your catching style is gonna be different. If you got the normal boxing stance, it's gonna be different. If you got the peekaboo, it's gonna be different. If you got your shoulder roll, it's gonna be different. If you got the long guard, it's gonna be different. And that's what makes these stances important, right? If we're able to catch in different stances and the way people catch in these stances, that'll be amazing. If we're able to parry in these specific stances, in some stances, your catching ability won't be like that. In the Philly shell, you're catching with your shoulder. So things can vary a lot, but if we have them stance specific, have a few iterations of it, that'll be plenty. Different parry techniques, different catch techniques. That'll be amazing. Even a few different type of rolls. These defensive mechanisms will make the game even more amazing. Last but not least, I have a great idea for posting, right? Posting is just keeping your arm out, pawing it out. You see that the character naturally does that over time. If you just let them stand there, they'll put their arm out for distance. Posting is good for gauging your distance, finding range, various things like that. How about we have a dedicated way to do it so it's not random? If you're an orthodox fighter, your jab is your left hand. If you're a southpaw, your jab is your right hand. Hit left or right on the directional pad to put your hand out. You just paw it out there, post it out there. That can be for range finding, that can be for distance, that could be for distraction. Just put it out there. And then from there, to retract it back, hit the same button. Or if you want to make it do different things, double tap that left or right on the diagonal pad. Then it may do soft pause, like you just kind of pawn it out. Instead of you actually doing legit jabs, one click on the directional pad, it puts it out there. 2 clicks on it, it starts pawing it. 3 clicks on it, it's pawing it up and down. And it can be easily canceled out with a punch command, or you just doing something different. Those are the good, those are the critiques, those are the areas of improvement. I love the game. I know it's gonna be amazing. It's already amazing, truth be told, but it's still a little bit we can improve on. Everything I said in this video is to make this game the best sports game of all time. Better than 2K11, better than NFL 2K5. This can be the best game ever. Better than Top Spin 4. Go ahead, add these mechanics in. You can take my ideas. You can take my ideas, Rax. I ain't gonna hate your Rax if you put it in the game, brother. I ain't gonna talk bad about your Fanatico. I ain't gonna want no cut. I'm gonna take the L on my check for the community. Y'all can go and take the ideas. As long as the people happy, that's what we about, man. I'm about the people, right? Woke love the people. Woke love the kids. Go ahead, put these changes in the game. We're gonna have 11 out of 10 if y'all do this. I love the beta. The beta was lit. Ain't gonna lie, I'm going through withdrawals because damn it, I had fun. I'm watching my old gameplays, just imagining. Y'all had your boy up to 3-4 a.m. eyes bloodshot red. You know a game is fun when you losing and you still having fun. Now hold on, brother, I wasn't losing a lot, but you know how these scorecards be. They had the Canelo judges in some of them, right? Your boy Woke got robbed a few times. I got a tie. Outstruck a dude by 50 punches and lost 3-4 rounds. Lost by 3-4 rounds. So you know it was a real robbery. But I love that the judges was like that. It kept you on your toes. Made you want to get dudes up out of there because you know these judges are corrupt. Adelaide Bird style. But I loved the game. Steel City, bravo to what y'all did. Add what I said in there. Make a way out of no way. And we're gonna have the best game possible. I appreciate y'all. Know it's a little more lengthy than usual, but we had to get it all in. We want the best game possible. We're gonna have the best game possible. I'm confident in that. I appreciate y'all. Shalom. Salute.